Okay, so there are at least 27 million slaves in the world today, and there's up to 50 that are individually working for you, possibly. And so, as I'm a member of the Made in a Free World organization, and so it's an anti-slavery association, and I'm just going to share a little bit of the facts and information about human slavery, and then I'm also going to talk about how you can be aware of it and then stop it. And I'm specifically going to talk about something called supply chain analytics and how that can help stop human slavery in the world. And so human slavery really is a problem that most of us are aware of, and we know about it in distant parts of the world, but we sometimes don't realize how much we really are affected by it. And so in the United States, it's estimated that we each have anywhere from 20 to 100 slaves working for us on average, which is kind of crazy. And so there was just an article released in Fox World News about this over 600 fishermen in Indonesia that were all slaves, and they produce so much fish for the United States. Actually, they provide a lot of the supply for a lot of our supermarkets like Walmart, Cisco, and a lot of like pet food companies as well. But one of the fishermen, his last name was Nang, and he talked about just the conditions that they were in. He was forced into it when he was just in his young teens, and they would force him to work up to 24 hours a day with little food, bad water, and if they tried to leave or if they tried to rest, they were violently treated. And so it's so sad to think that there's so many that go through these types of things, but a lot of us don't know about it. And the thing is, a lot of companies really don't know about it either, because it's not usually an entire product that's from human slavery, but a lot of times it's materials from a product. So it's within the supply chain, and that's why it's kind of hard to pick out what is really coming from human slavery. And so there's a website called slaveryfootprint.com, and it asks a few questions about just kind of like what kind of lifestyle you live, like where you're from, how many people in your family, the kind of car you drive, that kind of thing. And I did this, and I thought, well, I live a pretty conservative lifestyle. I'm in Utah. I'm a college student, so I don't spend that much money on a lot of things just because I don't have it. But after I took it, it said that there is about 43 slaves working for me personally. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. So for a lot of us, it really is shocking to see how much we rely on products that sometimes are a result of human slavery. And so, but awareness really is the first step to making a change. And so now I'm going to talk about supply chain analytics and what it really can do to make a difference in this. It's just digital connectivity, and they can use it. There's a network called Ariba Network, and it has over 1 million companies that work for them, and they've been working with companies for over 15 years, and it just helps companies connect their supply chain. And so Ariba Network has now combined with Made in a Free World, which is against human slavery, and they can help businesses know and evaluate where in their supply chain they're getting things that are caused by human slavery. And so according to Justin Dillon, the CEO of Made in a Free World, companies can really stop those parts in their supply chain that are created by human slavery. And not just cut and run from it, but really help remediate that supply chain instead of causing more problems with that. And so something that we can do to make a difference, something that we can do, we really do have the power to make a difference. It's kind of hard to see here, but it just shows that human slavery profit is about $150 million. And so that's a really big amount. And charities are only like a small drop in the bucket to stop those kinds of things. But in the marketplace, we contribute $88 billion to this. And so it really goes to show that we really do have a say in this because we're the consumers of these things. And so a few things that we can do is really make our voices heard. So just by spreading awareness, like telling your neighbors and your friends about these things, because a lot of people don't know about it. And another thing is writing letters to the companies that we care about and that we love. And so there's actually a cool story about how a letter was written to Steve Jobs about a mineral called coltan, and it's used in a lot of electronics. And these people wrote to Steve Jobs, and they didn't think that they were really going to get anything back because it's such a big company. But within 4 hours, they got an email, and he was like, I had no idea that this was actually part of our supply chain. And so he went and he fixed it. And that was Apple, a huge company. And so it really goes to show there are a ton of companies that when they hear about these kinds of things, they are willing to make a change. And then if that doesn't work, we always can just like boycott those industries that aren't willing to change. And so I know that this topic really can seem kind of daunting, and just because of the sheer magnitude of it in the world, but I know that it can be stopped, and it really can stop just by being aware of it and then notifying our favorite companies and stopping supporting these companies who refuse to change. Okay. And now, just if anybody has any questions about this, you can ask.
Yeah, how many people are actually doing things about this and to stop it?
That's a good question. So there's actually over 100 million letters that have been written to companies from people. And so there's, it's still a relatively new thing, but companies really are hearing from people about this. And so there's quite a few people that are aware of it, and that just consumers like us that are making a difference.
How can we know if some of our consumer products are being distributed like throughout the companies from slavery? Like, how do we find out about that?
That's a good question. So there are a few different websites that you can go to for it. One of them I had mentioned before is humanslavery.org, sorry. And then another one is Made in a Free World. And so you can go on and you can see if your company is part of this Made in a Free World thing, if they are trying to do it. And if they're not, you can write to them and just tell them what you know about it. And so it's these different websites that can help you know if the companies that you're using, if the products that you're using are being created by human slavery. So it's a good question.
So have any other companies besides, you talked about Apple, have any of them responded to letters like that before?
So there is a good amount of companies that have responded to letters. There's a lot of electronic companies that have responded. A few, there's EKO, they make headphones and things like that. A lot of the younger generation have their brand, but there's a lot of people that after they get letters of this kind, they do end up responding. So because it's so new, it really is important to make our voice known through those things.
All right, thank you.